Okay, here's a summary of a model called the featured real estate model. I try to make this one a reasonable kind of thing. Let me see, we have some scenario analysis. If we increase the cost, we have a reduction in the IRR, of course, so this now the big trick in this whole analysis, there are a number of them actually, it's not so easy, but we put together portfolios. In this case we just have no residential, we just have some commercial buildings. We have a shopping mall building. We have to spend some money on land. Okay, and that leads to a different IRR for each of these projects, and IRR at the end of the day. Now, the master scenario analysis I'm going to skip over. I'm going to go to the operating assumptions. We need a start date for the whole model. We need a common date. And then we have some dates when each project starts, and we have some codes that define how the construction costs are made over time. Now, here's the gross floor area, net floor area. So this total cost per gross floor area is spread over different periods with these things. This shows how many months notice this is not an input. Index E, we'll look at that in a minute. And we have some different codes for different occupancies. So we can put kind of a comprehensive set of assumptions. Now, for example, here are 3 growth rates in rentals. We have 1, 2, 3. We grow this by year, fine. And then this growth rate in the rental scenario should be okay. Shit. We did that as a generic thing, I think. The occupancy we did for each scenario, and then this S-curves. This was a real pain. We put different periods here, and each S-curve, had a different start date, different pattern, and different end date. Now I used some normal distribution kind of thing, some skewed distribution. This can be all done with the Weibel distribution. I really don't want to go into that right now because it's a pain. Then we can put the different tax assumptions in, and for the financing assumptions we have a term loan for the land, a term loan for the construction, and so forth. And this is the part I really want to talk about. We start with, if you start at the top, if this is red, it came from the red sheet. We could have even put it here, okay? That's the first thing. And that's done with this add-ins and color sheet from tab sheet. And then we made a month-by-month opening month and ending month. And then this one has end of quarter. And the end of quarter, you can go to the developer tab, and you notice that these 3 are the same and these 3 are 4. It's kind of like the month, but there's no end of quarter function in Excel, so you can make one. And you can go to macros and functions, press edit, and you have the end of the quarter function here. Okay, and I hope I have a little sign that says. Now, once we put this here, these come from the operating assumptions. Here's the start and end dates for the different construction periods. This one started in the middle of January. Oops. Now, if it started in the middle of January, did we start at the end of the day or the beginning of the day? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that. And then it goes to the 30th of November for 2018. And I guess the 30th of November we ended at the beginning of the day because it looks like we have one day in here, okay? And if you really get worried about the start or the end of the day, good for you. But that way we can put in all these specific dates, and then we have the month of construction. Now this is simply an add. We just say, well, if this thing is bigger than 1, then we're going to start it. And then we can put these S-curves in. And S-curves, here, this one says, well, we spend 2%, this one, and that's all with the index function, because over in the operating assumptions, we put different periods, different row numbers, and then the column numbers are the dates over here. So if we shade this, select this, not shade. Oh, it's not. I would have thought it was a range name, but maybe not. Okay, so we take that from here. Yeah, we didn't. I didn't have a range name here. And the first one is the row number, which gives our code number. The column number is this one, which is all flexible. That's how you can make your models very, very flexible. And then we put the construction expenditures in. Okay, and we put a little test to make sure that when you add the whole row across, the sum of all of this equals what you're supposed to do. I don't know why I didn't do it for these, but okay. And then this is our I suppose our sensitivity assumption. That was G32. So we just that's where we put the sensitivities in, and then we add them up. So we can put all sorts of different timing assumptions in, and it all comes from this thing as what percentage of the time are we in service. And look at this, it says this might be the most important part of the whole model. Now once you have that, you can put in oh look, we put in the percentage of time this time for the operations, because we start in this date. You could start one day later if you really got technical, I suppose, but you know, we start at the end of the day or something. God knows what. I think we start at the beginning of the day. So if we go to oops. Oh, I guess we start this one at the end of the day. And we ended it here. So we started it right in the next day. And then we go for until 30 November 2023. We have a holding period we defined in the assumptions. Okay. Then you can put the lettable area for this. I've got a sensitivity assumption somewhere in 50. Oh, this is the total lettable area, and we multiply that by the AU45, which is whether we are in service or out of service. This just defines our kind of status. And then we put the percentage of the increase, which we did as a generic across the all. And finally, we can just put the rental rates in with the percentage of increase. Okay. Finally, we can get how old you are, and the old you are defined along with the code number for the occupancy rate gives you just how much you've put into service. Okay. And finally, we can use our income after the occupancy, and then we continue. We can put our sales proceeds in. And did I use a percentage of time function here? No, this time we just put an equal sign, whether this Okay. We put this at the end of the month all the time. This is always the end of the month, so we can compare this to the end of the month. Okay. And then we can get the pre-tax cash flow, and finally the after-tax cash flow. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the taxes and the capital allowance, okay? And then we finally get the net plant balance, all that stuff, fine. Here's where I'm trying to get to now, the financing. For the financing, the key is really to start by setting up the debt amounts. So we said, okay, well here's the total amount of the land cost, and here's what we what kind of loan we can get for the land cost. We put some fees in here. Same, and then you can say, well, okay, we better put 70. That means we better finance the rest of it with equity. And then we can see, well, how much are we borrowing for the land cost? Now, each of these, when you set this up, here's the key, that these draws come from the cash flow statement. It says it right here. These draws, they come from 368, way downstairs. That's the crucial idea here. And you can put in the balances and work through your profit and loss statement. And then the key is this. I keep on saying key. I'm sorry to repeat myself here. But we can look at how much sale proceeds we get. We start with all the real income we get. And then we have a series of minimum and maximum functions. If, let's see, let's go to this one. So what do we have? We have a capital expenditure. That must mean somewhere we need subtotal. That's a negative number. So we put in our equity, the remainder is debt, and then we borrow some more debt, and then the remainder is equity, and blah blah blah. And you can kind of see how it's going downstairs in the cash flow waterfall. And when the cash flow is eventually positive, then we're repaying the debt down here, and at the very end we get the dividends. And in this case we had a little bit of a complex thing because we had to build up some cash. So that's not so easy with a portfolio of different assets. Then you can summarize this whole thing on a quarterly basis. I used roundup to get the quarter number, and there are a few other things I should have used done something with the end of the quarter. And then we have an annual model. We make a tornado diagram, and I've got some discussion here about the residential, but I'm going to stop this video because I want to really I think it's more important to discuss right now the mixed use model. Mixed